I do believe we are live. So I want to say hello to everyone. Welcome to the Missouri Freedom Initiative. Tonight's kind of an exciting night because we're going to see the trial by fire for SAPA from two angles. But first of all, I want to say that today is Sunday. It is the 13th of March. The year is 2022. And do you know where your Second Amendment rights are? That's an important question right now, gang. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get states to see what SAPA does for the state of Missouri in light of legislation that is currently passed through the House and the Senate in Washington, D.C., having to do with a $1.5 trillion spending bill. So we're going to take a real close look at that tonight, and we're going to talk about the stuff they tucked into the bill that are going to take away Second Amendment rights to average people in the United States while we're spending money in the Ukraine to arm the civilians there. The irony does not escape us, trust me. So I'd like to welcome a bunch of people tonight. Let me start with Jennifer Wilkin, who you see on your screen right now. If those of you who don't know her, she's on Facebook, and she was also helpful in getting SAPA legislation done through the state of Missouri, getting it through the legislative process. And I saw Jennifer at the press conference that Eric Burleson had, after it had been passed and it wasn't yet signed by the governor. And I didn't know that was Jennifer. So so it's nice to actually kind of meet you, even though it's, virtual meeting and everything.
Right.
Yep. So we also have Casey Rich with us. We have Caleb with us, also known as Liberty Revolutionary. We have Alistair with us. Hello there to Alistair. We have, Mind Your Liberty with us, Rhino76, and Rusty Shackelford. And on the YouTube side, they're giving us a 5x5 already. Thank you very much, guys. We have Mad Mom and On 2 with us. We have, Voodoo Queen with us. We have, the Prepared Homestead. We got Travis with us. Hey there, Travis. Thank you for joining. And Sheraton Farmer, who gave us the 5x5. Okay, gang, we're going to open up for a discussion here in just a little bit. But first off, I want to let you guys know what's going on in Washington, D.C., and I have some tabs here ready to go. And with any luck, I can get this done properly. Okay, let's see. Here we go. All right. 18 GOP senators voted for gun control in Washington, D.C. Now, this is Gun Owners of America, but I want you guys to know what this is about. This is a spending bill that literally is something that has gone through the House and now the Senate. And it went through so dang fast, there was no chance for constituents to contact their senators or representatives. I'm not a big advocate of that on the D.C. side. But it's a 2,700-page bill that they ram through. This is normal course these days, $1.5 trillion spending bill. And, of course, it's been billed as, hey, listen, with this bill, we've got money for the Ukraine so we can arm the civilians over there so they can fight against Putin. But also in this bill is more information containing, I would say, I don't know if I want to say it, amendments to the Violence Against Women Act. But that's what it is. Let me scroll down real quick here. And let me get this in the YouTube chat so you guys can follow along on the very page I'm on. And we're going to look at what they got done because this is actually happening in real time. This is going to test SAPA, gang. This is the first time SAPA will be tested in the state of Missouri. So we're talking about the spending bill. Sections 101 and 102 grant funding programs to train police to executive red flag gun confiscation orders. This is one of the primary reasons why SAPA was done in the state of Missouri is to prevent federal red flag laws, gun grabbing laws. Section 801 is an expansion of the Lautenberg misdemeanor gun ban, aka Biden's boyfriend loophole. Section 802 is funding to turn state level stalking laws into red flag gun confiscation laws. That's what we're dealing with here. I want you guys to know that our very own Roy Blunt from the state of Missouri, he's one of the biggest turds in the punch bowl in D.C., by the way, has voted to actually do this. And
so he did. He did vote for that.
He
I thought he
did.
didn't vote for it.
Yep.
I know Graham voted. Not our. He's not our senator, but yeah, I know Graham did vote for
Yep,
it
Graham did
too.
vote for it too. We have 18, according to this article from Gun Owners of America, 18 GOP senators voted for the gun control. That's, you know, and then every Democrat did. So they had like 68 vote for it. So they got it passed right through the Senate. It already went through the House. And it just went through so fast. I mean, I can't believe this. When did this article? 11th of March. It's the 13th. That means they got it done on Friday. So on Thursday they got it through the House, and on Friday they got it through the Senate. No time for
It's
you.
already been signed.
Yep. Oh, it's Biden already signed it.
Yep, pretty sure.
Okay. All right. So that's a done deal. This is a direct violation of your Second Amendment rights by far. We felt, and I shouldn't say we, I don't want to speak for the entire group here. I felt we weren't going to see something like this until they had the SAPA law in a federal appeals court before they started doing stuff like this. The Missouri Supreme Court has not weighed in on SAPA yet, but the fact that they're taking so long is actually a pretty good sign. So I'd like to open it up for general discussion right now, because we're going to actually start a discussion about how Missouri's SAPA law protects us from exactly what bill we just saw right now on the screen, the spending bill. KC, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. I got that link for the Oklahoma bill.
Okay.
Where you want me to send it to you at?
Yep. Actually, just go ahead and put it in the general chat, and then we'll talk about Oklahoma in a little while here.
Okay. Will do.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so, okay, here's what we're dealing with here. We have a law, for those of you who don't know, and once again, welcome to everyone watching us on YouTube. But we have a law in the state of Missouri, for those of you who don't know, that's called the Second Amendment Preservation Act. And among us right now are some of the people that help lead the charge to get that through the legislative process. And I want to say thank you to every one of you that actually made phone calls, sent emails, did visits to Jefferson City, and reported on social media on the status of this bill and gave people actionable items so they could actually further the bill. This was passed, let's see, it'd be May of last year, signed by the governor. I believe it was in June.
June 26th, I believe.
June 26th. And what this law does for us, now in a nutshell, there's lots of nuts and bolts. What this does is nullify federal gun law in the state of Missouri. Now, does that mean that the laws are null and void in the state of Missouri? Not really. What it does do is say local law enforcement, sheriff's offices, police departments, state police, if they engage in trying to, involve themselves in federal gun law, their agencies will be hit with a $50,000 fine per incident, per person, for any infringement on a Missourian's Second Amendment right. Now, that's in a nutshell. There's more nuts and bolts to it. Go ahead, Caleb.
I was going to say, when it comes to how exactly this new thing that they're trying to do at the federal level works, is they're basically, it already is in existence with the task force, but they're trying to expand it to where they can deputize local law enforcement and whatnot into becoming federal agents on the matter. And that is completely ineffective here, at least if they don't want to lose miserably in court, because the $50,000 fines apply to the departments when they cooperate with the feds to begin with. So if they try to offer a deputizing them, then what happens is that department gets in some pretty bad trouble for it. And then individual cops that do that, in fact, I have a copy of the bill in front of me, but they can't be employed in the state of Missouri if they've cooperated with the feds, which means that they have to be fired. They can't employ them anymore. So individual cops that are deputized to do so have to be fired. And qualified immunity doesn't apply either.
Okay. And so we got more technical details on how the law works in the state of Missouri. Now, I'm about to tell you something, and it's not out of pride or ego. Missouri is the only state that has SAPA with teeth. We have, consequences to law enforcement that will not follow the law. We're the only state that has this. That's it. Other states have tried, and for one reason or another have not gotten SAPA with teeth in their states. So we, as Missourians, stand alone in the United States as being the only state where basically the new law that just was signed by Biden apparently is not enforceable by Missouri law enforcement, period. Now, they can try to enforce it, but they will be sued in court and they will lose. So now, to answer everyone's question, can the ATF come in and enforce Biden's gun laws? The answer is yes, with a caveat. This is part of those technicals I was talking about earlier. If the ATF wants to take away triggers from your guns or your bump stocks, or if they want to take away your pistol braces or any number of things, or if they want to investigate you because you were refused basically the purchase of a gun when you did your background check, you could call up your sheriff and literally let him know, hey, the ATF is here and they're investigating me. They're doing this to me. They're doing that to me. It is the responsibility of the sheriff under Missouri SAPA law to defend your Second Amendment rights.
That is section 1.440.
Okay.
It shall be the duty of the courts and law enforcement agencies of the state to protect the rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms within the borders of the state, and to protect these rights from infringements defined under section 1.420.
Yep. So that's what makes us different. That's why our law is different. Why are we different, and what are the consequences of being different? We're different because we had a strong grassroots movement to get SAPA through the legislative process with consequences for law enforcement who will not follow the law. Now, what are the consequences of us being different? And actually, I've got several answers. The first of which is the DOJ won't leave us alone. Biden's Department of Justice is trying to sue us, and they've been trying to sue us. They've been backing up those cities and counties that do not agree with our SAPA law. They've been backing them up too with the lawsuits. So we're being attacked on that side, on the court side. There are attacks on the legislative side as well. John Rizzo among them, Senator John Rizzo. We've talked about him before in the past. However, right now his bill hasn't made it out of committee. And that the new attacks, I think, are basically the ones that the entire United States are facing, which is Joe Biden's red flag laws, and not to mention the stuff that's going through Congress right now. They are coming for our guns, gang. Make no mistake. This has all been part of the plan. This is why we have SAPA. This is why other states are trying to get SAPA. So I think we could open up for general discussion. Let's start talking about this, because this is a singular, this is a very distinguished event in American history. We have a single state that is not acknowledging federal gun laws anymore. And they're starting to bring the hammer down as far as gun laws are concerned in the United States. Yet we are not acknowledging those laws. So,
And
go ahead.
to add in there, it's also the only state that has a mechanism to prevent them from being deputized to the federal government.
Yep, that's
without
correct.
them getting massive penalties.
Yep, that's right. There'll be, for every incident, it's a $50,000 penalty, and then they get fired anyway.
Mhm.
So
And
that is if if law enforcement follows the law. That's an important aspect of this. If law enforcement decides to not follow state law and follow federal law, then we have a bigger problem. Now, that's a weird scenario for me to bring up right now, but that is a possibility in some agencies, I think, in some of the more liberal areas of the state of Missouri. Doesn't mean it'll happen, though.
I was gonna say, shouldn't we start using tactics to start going after some of these sanctuary cities and some of these leftist crap holes, like the sanctuary cities for like illegal immigration? We could at least start with that.
We could,
I mean,
yeah, that's another thing too, is that the federal government is starting to go after sanctuary cities and sanctuary counties. Now, this is I don't want to make this a part of the bigger discussion, because this is actually something that gets very legal and technical very quickly. But let's look at the state of Virginia. Virginia has, I believe, more than 3/4 of their counties. Caleb, correct me if I'm wrong here. More than 3/4 of their counties are Second Amendment sanctuaries. Is that correct?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay,
But it all depends on their legal structure of that state, whether it's a
correct.
dual enroll state or not.
Right, whether or not they have supremacy clause in the state. And
Yeah, I'm
once
pretty
again, we're not
sure
talking about federal supremacy clause. We're talking about state supremacy clause. So
it's a state. What's the term I'm looking for? Preemption.
okay, preemption. Gotcha. Okay. Well, that being the case, the federal government is trying to shut down these Second Amendment sanctuaries. In some states, they may be legal, and in the state of Missouri, they can't exceed state law. So basically, SAPA was helpful for our sanctuary counties. We have 3 of them here in the state of Missouri: Newton, Camden, and gosh darn it, there's a third one. We have 3. So it doesn't matter. We have 3 sanctuary counties. In one of them, which is Newton County, they also have a singular distinction. They say any Fed that comes to enforce any federal gun law that comes onto the county will be arrested and incarcerated in their county. So they went a step further. So I don't think Camden did that or the other one did that. Is anyone familiar with? Go ahead.
I was gonna say the only problem with that is that the actual judges of that district could basically the feds could file to have the judge relinquish that to a federal court, and that becomes a problem in itself, because then that guy just walks free. You'd also have to have a language in something like that would say ban the judges themselves from relinquishing it to a federal court.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So how are they going to test us, Caleb? I mean, give us a scenario here. This whole thing that's happening at the federal level right now, where they're going after, basically people who fail background checks are going to be investigated. And of course, by federal law now, this new law they just did, which is a part of the spending bill, basically they deputize, literally police officers, sheriff's officers that force investigations on those who fail a background check.
That's 2 different things in there.
Okay.
The deputizing was the intent to actually do the entire field of federal gun laws, the entire field, NFA, everything. Because there's several NFA items that no longer apply in the state of Missouri, like destructive devices, certain categories of those. AOWs no longer apply here. What else? There's another one too. I can't remember anyway. But the point being is that and all the arbitrary ATF rulings, that doesn't apply here either. But if they want to enforce that, they would have to deputize local agencies or local law enforcement to do that, individual or the entire department. Now, they can't do that in itself here without running into trouble. But the difference is that the ATF wants to do something. When you go buy a gun at a gun shop, they have your address.
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes a problem that you really can't get in the way of here, which is another reason why I recommend just buying parts from gun shops so they don't know anything. But
there is that.
But the entire point of that is that, yeah, they'll be able. This will stop the deputizing of the police. But if you fail a background check at a gun shop, they can still try to investigate you, because the ATF that's the thing about gun shops, is they are under the direct purview of the ATF.
Correct. Once again, FFLs have to follow federal law, so we all acknowledge that.
Which is another reason why, when you were suggesting before that we should have a state, an SFL, a state firearms license, I was like, no, because if that list gets leaked, you've got problems. In a situation like that would create a whole set of problems. Okay.
Well, so in the state of Missouri then, okay, let's follow the scenario then. So I go in, I try to buy a gun. I'm buying a Glock, right? And I fail the background check for whatever reason. It could be because, with all the censorship going on, it could be that I'm opposed to, the federal government taking away people's Second Amendment rights for all that matters, so social scoring or whatever. And so basically, someone at the sheriff's office in Christian County, where I live, decides, well, gosh darn it, we have to investigate this guy now. He failed a background check. So at that point, first of all, number one, if they investigate me, they've broken the law. They've actually broken Missouri state law. And Missouri state law is supreme over federal law when it comes to firearms, period, end of story. So so they've broken the law. Number two, they have to get fired. Number three, I sue for $50,000. Is that pretty much correct?
Yes. However, if you fail to background check at an FFL, they're not going to bother going to the sheriff's department. They're going to send about 5 guys to your front door directly from the ATF because they have your address.
Okay. So then what I do is I call my local sheriff and let them know the ATF is here. They're bugging me. Come by and make them go away. Is that correct? And then I sue and get my $50,000.
If they don't.
Yeah, if they don't.
Let's hope you have a good sheriff.
I don't think that SAPA requires that a sheriff intervene. SAPA just requires that he can't enforce the law.
He can't enforce the law, but it says, let's see, where is it? Where is it? And that applied under the, actually it's a vague point, but it applied directly under what was listed as the sections that were $50,000 violated. Let's see here if I can find it. It was right in front of my face. Hold on a second. It says, let's see, it shall section 1.440, which is also covered under the sections, the specific sections that were listed in the $50,000 section. Says it shall be the duty of the courts and law enforcement agencies of the state to protect rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms within the borders of the state, and to protect these rights from infringements defined under section 1.420 through under section 1.420, which is the section that defines everything in here. And then 1.50, let's see here. And that says nothing in, let's see, where is it? 1.60. I'm trying to find the actual any political subdivision. That's the 50. Let me go down to the next section. Okay, I went the wrong way with it. This way. Let's see.
It shall be the duty of the courts and law enforcement to protect your Second Amendment rights.
Protect your Second Amendment rights, but I'm trying to find the actual section where it lists which sections apply with the $50,000 fines.
Okay, understood. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that for that particular scenario. You know, if they fail to protect.
It might be the case. I just have to find which sections it actually defines in this.
Okay, understood. So yeah, that was a fine point that I probably shouldn't have brought up. That was a scenario that may not actually apply. But the point is this, gang. This is happening in real time right now. This law is going through at the federal government, and we as Missouri kind of stand alone in not enforcing that law. We are the only state that won't be enforcing it, guaranteed. Now, other states have SAPA law. Here's where it's different, gang. So someone may say, oh, nonsense, shoot, Arizona has SAPA law. This state has SAPA law. Yes, they do. But there's no enforcement mechanism against the law enforcement that breaks that law. Therefore, they can break the law with impunity. So in Missouri, it's different. If they want to break the law, they have to be ready to pay a $50,000 fine to those who they've actually, infringed on a Second Amendment right. So
it's $50,000 multiplied by the personnel involved,
and the amount of firearms,
and then the amount of firearms or specific violations. So, like if they go do an investigation plus taking 2 firearms, so that's 3 times however many cops were involved.
Yep. Show Me the Truth says Oklahoma's trying to get add teeth to their law right now. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, by the way, because we want other people in other states to watch this. This is why we did SAPA the way we did it. And you guys who have SAPA legislation going through right now, you guys need to pay close attention. You need to amend your bills quickly to make sure that you've got teeth. Very important.
Tell you what, if you want to lobby in Oklahoma, now would be the time to do it. I mean, you go to your senators and say, hey, look what Biden just signed. You guys are going to put some teeth in this thing, right? I mean, that's what we did with SAPA. We said, hey, look at these laws Biden's just waiting to sign. You're voting for SAPA, right?
Yep.
It should be a shoe-in for him now.
You would think so. You'd think that they'd make it a very high priority there now.
Definitely.
Yep. Okay, so taking all this into account at this point in time, we know, okay, and once again, I didn't know that Biden signed this into law, but it doesn't matter. He will sign it into law. It's, first off, it's a spending bill. Look how many House members and senators went for it. It was overwhelming. And, of course, we didn't have a chance to chime in on they didn't give the American people a chance to chime in on this bill with all this gun legislation stuffed in. So
it was just rushed through because Ukraine, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Once again, remember now, this is a spending bill, so we can arm the Ukrainian civilians with automatic weaponry, AK-47 machine guns. And what they're doing in the same bill is they are taking away Second Amendment rights from American citizens in the same darn bill. This is not just this is literally rubbing the Americans' nose in feces is what they're doing with this bill. No kidding. Guys, I couldn't make this stuff up. Go ahead, Casey.
So any senator that voted for that, they need to be gone.
Yep.
I just have to say it like that. I ain't gonna say what I really want to say, but
but it is that ridiculous. It's that real and it's that ridiculous. Jennifer, do you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, a lot, but
Probably a lot of
clarify
expletives.
one thing though. Yeah. I do want to clarify one thing though with
Sure.
SAPA. It doesn't nullify federal law. Like the ATF can still. I don't like using that word because there's a lot of misconceptions around SAPA, and they're like, "Oh, you can't enforce laws here," and it's like, well, look what happened to the gun store in I believe it was Camden County. The ATF absolutely did raid them. So, a lot of people are confused and they think that just none of the federal law applies, and also it only applies to federal law that is not codified in Missouri law.
Yes, that is correct. That you're absolutely correct. Now, when I say nullification of federal law, what I mean is that Missouri law enforcement can't engage in enforcing federal gun laws anymore. So that's the kind of nullification.
I understood what you meant, and you kind of clarified it, but some people don't, and
okay.
That was one of my biggest pet peeves with it. So many people think it applies to all federal law and nobody can enforce it. And it's like, no, the feds can enforce their laws.
Yeah, they can. They can try. They can try. And the point, I mean, the whole thing surrounding this is, it not only keeps the cops here from doing it, but it also, what's the word I'm looking for? It puts a barrier there, an information barrier between us and the feds. So there needs to be that's one of the things that Mike Bolden always says, is that there needs to be a level of outright disobedience surrounding all of this to overwhelm even the ATF is what they're able to do.
And the ATF,
I do think.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Jennifer.
I do think that SAPA is going to be difficult for the feds to take down because it was based solely on the anti-commandeering law, which has already been upheld time and time again by the Supreme Court, that the federal government cannot force states to enforce its laws. They cannot commandeer our resources to enforce their laws.
Yep, that's right.
If they were to try to overturn that, they would have to overturn everything, and then you're just going based off of stare decisis, not this. And in fact, if you really want to get to it, the court, the states are still sovereign in that matter because they're not supposed to recognize something they disagree with out of the federal courts to begin with.
Okay. Well, I think, as far as Missouri goes, I mean, we're alone in this. We didn't want to be, but we are technically alone in this. And since they shoved this bill through Congress so quickly, I want any of you watching this in another state, some people are mentioning in the YouTube chat, Idaho is currently doing SAPA. I didn't even know that. So thank you for that. If that's the case, please someone look into the Idaho bill. If you live in Idaho, look into your bill. Make sure you have teeth in your bill. Ramifications for law enforcement that break the law. Because otherwise, all you're giving them is qualified immunity over and over and over again. with every single violation of someone's Second Amendment right within that state. And that's not the point of the bill. The point of the bill is to stop the infringements, not to allow them, under qualified immunity. That's what they've had for a long time now. So very, very important stuff, gang. You guys need to move at breakneck speed in all of your states to make sure that if you have SAPA legislation, to get teeth in your bill. And $50,000 fine. Someone wrote up here on the YouTube chat a little while ago, with the rate of inflation, we should make it the highest salary of any law enforcement official in the state of Missouri. And actually, that's a very intriguing idea. That's something that we may look into do for amending, in the future, but we have lost the time to do it this year, maybe next year. But I think that's a pretty good idea.
I was suggesting when I was driving down to Roby, Missouri with Casey Rich here, I was talking to Patrick on the phone. I was going, one of the things that we need to do next year is put through a bill that would ban law enforcement from engaging in the legislative process, whether it be their agencies, their individual in official capacity, or their unions.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure you could do that without a First Amendment violation.
Because as individuals, if it were individuals that are not acting in an official capacity, it would be. But if it is what's the word looking for? Engaging in official capacity, whether it be the unions or whatnot, that was directly pursuant to Article 1, Section 3 of the Missouri Constitution.
Yeah, or any associations or anything like that.
Because they are a government entity. They are not what's the word I'm looking for. Now, private individuals, sure, they can do what they want, but once they start acting in official capacity to do so, like police unions, that's a government entity. They get a lot of federal funding.
Yep, and Scott has joined us. Hey there, Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going okay, man.
I jumped in kind of late, but do you think that we're out of the woods because of our Supreme Court, Missouri Supreme Court?
That's a very good question. Actually, I'd like to say, I haven't done a live stream in a while, actually, because of my schedule. And you guys know, even one weekend I was out of state and everything. I was at Travis's meeting. And if you guys have not been to any of Travis's meetings, you're truly missing out. So strongly consider that. But I was explaining that the Supreme Court still hasn't made a decision. Now, that is being interpreted by very smart people that I know as a good thing. Now, the fact that they're dragging it out as long as they are is not good for other states that are holding out on their SAPA legislation to see what the Missouri Supreme Court does, the kind of treatment our SAPA law gets from the Missouri Supreme Court. That does not help those other states. They need to not worry about the internal crap going on with the court system in the state of Missouri and get SAPA done in their states. It is 100% constitutional. Jennifer was talking about this earlier. It's 10th Amendment stuff. It's anti-commandeering doctrine stuff. This is Madison stuff. This is proven time and time again in the courts for 200 years. There is nothing wrong with the Second Amendment Preservation Act. It's completely legal. It's totally constitutional. The other states need to move on this now because of the crap they're pulling in D.C. So the Missouri Supreme Court, where are we at with that? No one knows. I wish I had a mole, that had information for me on the Missouri Supreme Court. I often get a little bit of inside information from the Senate or from the House or stuff like that. Supreme Court, I don't got none. So I am trusting people smarter than me saying the fact that it's taking a long time for them to reach a decision is a good thing for the Second Amendment Preservation Act. So that's what I'm thinking right now, too. Okay, and let's see. We got Triple T Tony joining us. Hey there, Triple T. Let's see. Hang on. Lindsay Schloop has a question for Casey Rich. Hey, Casey, I was just wondering if the Wyoming guys got a hold of you.
Not yet. I haven't heard anything.
And basically a frame of reference here for those of you watching, our very good friend here, Casey Rich, who's been just a tremendous help to the effort here in the state of Missouri, is actually dabbling a little bit with another channel called SAPA Central, which he created about a month or two ago. and he is trying to get SAPA legislation started in other states or help further existing SAPA legislation in other states. So God bless you for doing the yeoman's work there, Casey. Thank you.
Hey, anyone can do it, and everyone should. Doesn't take
Hey,
anything
Kate.
special.
Hey KC, while you got a minute, you want to tell everybody how they're trying to go after ballot initiatives here in Missouri as well? While everybody's on.
We could probably. That's up to Patrick.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah,
Bob
Okay,
Onder's bill.
I-
Let's talk about it a little bit for a second here, and then we'll get right back to questions and stuff. We got a lot of stuff in the YouTube chat.
I'm sorry. I agree, and I shouldn't have brought it up now, but I figured, it is important. It really is, but it's up to you.
What if I talk about it towards the end?
Okay, gotcha. We'll hit it towards
Yeah.
the end here.
Yeah, we'll get it in. That way I can do the whole thing.
Okay, Show Me the Truth says, I wish Texas would do the same thing with teeth in their law. Heck, they pushed for suppressors manufactured in Texas as long as they stay in Texas. Show Me the State, that's an excellent point. Texas gave up their teeth, and no one really knows why, because they did have teeth in their bill when they were trying to get it done last year. And then suddenly their teeth disappeared. I saw the same thing happen in Montana. I followed Montana, actually, because I knew someone up there. Montana dropped the teeth in their bill, too. No explanation given. Suddenly just the teeth are gone, and they passed a watered-down version of SAPA with no ramifications for law enforcement that would break the law. Once again, qualified immunity taking shape. When you bake qualified immunity into a law like that, it's quite dangerous, in fact, in my opinion. Number one, the politicians get kudos for doing something that was rudimentary. A kindergartner can do it, which is just pass a law that is meaningless. And that's exactly what SAPA is without teeth. It's totally meaningless. It is, and by the way, Kansas knows this. Kansas knows firsthand what happens when you pass SAPA without teeth. So
I will add to that. There are now the SAPA without teeth thing. There's two sides to that coin as well.
okay,
In one regard, not having teeth in it, I mean, that comes straight out of 4 words: police and sheriff's unions.
Yeah. Yep.
To add to that, though, you will still find occasionally in like some of the rural parts of like Kansas and whatnot, where their sheriff wants nothing to do with anything to do with federal law, particularly the very deep, middle of nowhere sheriffs. You'll find that, and those areas might be safe. So there's still some hope for some of these states that have that, but it's very few and far between versus having teeth in your bill.
Okay.
That's all I got to say about that.
Okay, gotcha. Understood. Okay, so
Our
I'd like.
SAPA law here in Missouri was also watered down. The original bill was a lot
Yes.
stronger than the one that was passed.
Yes, it was. We are very familiar with that. I'd almost not like to get into that right now, but you're right. We had much stronger teeth at the beginning of 2021. Much stronger teeth, and they got traded
I
out
would
at the end of
assume that
February.
that's-
Go ahead.
Yeah. I would assume that that's probably why other states are removing their teeth, the same reason that ours got watered down. The law enforcement are going out against it.
Yep. In this case, it was extreme pressure on a single individual, a Missouri legislature by the Missouri Sheriff's Association, and that's exactly what happened here. So don't let the Missouri or the sheriff associations in your state or the police chiefs, association, whatever they are, don't let them get involved in the legislative process. Here's why, gang. Doesn't matter what state you're in. When law enforcement gets to literally make the laws that they enforce and they have qualified immunity, you have a problem. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you have in communism. And people don't immediately recognize it because, oh, yeah, well, we still have a legislative process here. Yeah, but remember now, it's the people that literally are influenced by federal money that are coming in to make the laws in the state. These are federal players. These are federal characters, actors, coming in and affecting state law literally through law enforcement agencies that are local to your state. That's exactly what it is. So, yeah,
that's what it boils down to.
Yes, it does. And one of these days we'll do a nice big expose on the Missouri Sheriff's Association because I consider them laundering money. Because, by the way, I could show there was an audit that was done in 2018 of the Missouri Sheriff's Association, and they received, oh gosh, I can't remember how many millions of dollars from the federal government for iris or eye scans. But we already passed a law in the state of Missouri that we couldn't use them in law enforcement. But they didn't give the money back to the Fed. They kept it. So what did they use that money for? I would love to do a video about that. Guys, we have corruption in our state.
Do it.
There's not a single person here that is going to tell you we don't have corruption in the state of Missouri. The difference is here is we're going to expose it, because only when we shine a light on this corruption does it start to go away. And that's our job as citizens. I don't expect the corrupt to admit that they've done wrong. I don't expect a sheriff to come up and tell me, oh gosh, the Sheriff's Association is so corrupt. I understand that they're basically a federal influence on the sheriffs in the state of Missouri. I don't expect that. But you guys can expect that from us. That's what we do. That's what we do. We shine a light in the darkness. Go ahead.
That's another reason why I was saying that doing a bill like that next year, just even sticking it in there and pushing it, banning the associations and the departments and everything from getting involved with the legislature would make the worms start coming out of the ground.
Yep. And I'm sorry, someone else was going to come in and talk. Was it Mind Your Liberty? Did you want to come in and say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do it. Make that video. I'd like to watch that.
Okay, gotcha. In fact, there's a couple of videos, and KC and I have a plan to make a video, and it's going to happen. And the plans got changed, and it was because of my work schedule. It wasn't because of KC. I'm self-employed, gang, and a lot of work just kind of got dumped on me in the last almost 2 months. So if you wonder why the videos are not coming out as fast and furious as we've seen in the past, that's exactly why. And then on top of which, I did make a trip to Minnesota, and I'll be making another one soon. But at any rate, so we'll be making more videos, and we'll do an expose on the Missouri Sheriff's Association based on that audit. And by the way, I have sent an email and made a phone call to the Missouri Sheriff's Association last year to ask them what happened to that money, that iris scan money, because it doesn't show on their books that it went back to the federal government. They kept it. And it was already illegal to do that in law enforcement. We already made a law in the state of Missouri. We don't use iris scanners, right? In law enforcement, just in law enforcement. Businesses want to do it, that's fine. But they didn't return the money. What did the money go to? How was it used? That's what they didn't tell us. So was that money to start going against SAPA for the legislative year of 2019? Maybe. I don't know. Hush money? I don't know what kind of money it was. But it certainly didn't go to iris scanners because that's illegal. And hello to Pika, that is joining us on the YouTube side. Been visiting Minnesota more often. Pika, not really, but I will be visiting Minnesota more often now. My mom is not well, and so I'm going up there and helping out a little bit up there. So that's the deal.
Hey,
with
Pat,
it. Yeah.
Can you do a FOIA request on what happened to that money?
Probably. However, that's private business. They don't have to explain what they do with their money. The only reason I think a FOIA request would be appropriate is because it was literally earmarked for something that was already illegal in the state of Missouri. I have talked to smarter people than me about that, and they were going to look into it. And if they did, they didn't get back to me and tell me what they found. But this is something, you guys remember Jimmy D, right? And, so Jimmy D was instrumental in part of this and, trying to figure out what the heck happened to that money with the Missouri Sheriff's Association. So, but at any rate, Jimmy D and I could get nowhere, so we handed it off to smarter people. So, and that was, by the way, in 2020 is when we did that. That information was publicly available in 2019. It was from an audit in 2018 of the Missouri Sheriff's Association.
Gotta love a good internal audit. It's like we investigated ourselves and found out we did nothing wrong.
Show Me the Truth says Did you ever get an email about if there were changes in Discord when it comes to misinformation? Just curious. Actually, I didn't get an email, but I have information on that. So that'll be something we'll be talking about real soon. Caleb has been working hard on this, along with a few others. We will have a backup platform if we get kicked off of Discord. So
I just need to show you how to use Gilded. It's almost identical to Discord. So there's an app for it too.
Yep. So there's a phone app for it too.
If anybody out there wants to get used to it, you might want to download it and play around with it for a bit, because we'll eventually be switching to that.
Yeah. James Weber's asking for an update on Jimmy D. He's doing fine. You know, he's had some heart trouble and continuous. In a 3-month period, he had a lot of trouble. And so he's taking it easy. So that's about all I can say about that. So I pray for him every night, by the way, just so you guys know. Let's see. Mad Mom Anon 2 says, yeah, I'll share with the peeps. Jason Burmis in Iowa, give him a heads up. Do you know Jason Burmis in Iowa there, Casey Rich?
I know his channel. I don't know the guy personally.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Okay, thank you for bringing that up, by the way, Mad Mom. If anyone knows of any liberty movements that are trying to get SAPA done in any states, please contact Casey Rich and let him know. You can contact him through our channel. Our email address is listed. You can do it through YouTube comment or whatever. Just let us know, and we'll get Casey Rich in touch with them. Casey Rich is kind of he's the forefront here for working with other states out of our group. So yes, if you know of anyone, please let us know so we can get them resources and information. We can get them, like, for instance, I've said all the time, the Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast, which is where we were really working SAPA hard, has a lot of videos that has a lot of information about what we went through during a 3-year period to get SAPA done. And that is extremely valuable information, you know, for anyone who's trying to get SAPA done in their states. Jimmy D is also the man, says Travis. He is. I miss having him on, you know, when we do these. I really miss him. I actually haven't physically seen him in a long time. I talked to him on the phone, though, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Show Me the Truth was asking about Gilded, so I went ahead and just stuck a link to it in the chat there.
Sure, no problem.
Wants to mess with it.
Yep.
Eventually we'll get over there once stuff starts getting weird over here on Discord. So.
Yep. And our Twitter has been quite active too, gang. If those of you who are on Twitter, please look in our description section for this video. The Twitter is doing well. I'm not doing Facebook as much anymore. I've talked about this in the videos before. The censorship on Facebook is hitting pinnacle, you know, peak levels where we just can't grow anymore. It's impossible. We're simply not growing. We are so shut off. Hopefully, Jennifer, you're not experiencing that in your group, in your Facebook group.
We haven't here lately. It seems to come in spurts where we get a lot of strikes from YouTube, from Facebook. But we haven't lately, but like I said, it goes in spurts. So seems like every once in a while they put a target on us.
Yep. Well, we were covering the beer flu stuff quite a bit in our group as well. And that's the stuff they keep hitting us. You know, every single post that had to do with the beer flu or the serum, we got hit hard. But we were bringing in really good data, hardcore data. And that's the
Which
stuff.
Facebook doesn't like that.
No. And as it turns out, all that data was actually true. And it's been admitted now, you know, by the Pfizer drops.
Hey, by the way, has anybody seen Dr. Fauci?
No, he's missing right now. I know they're thinking about putting his face on milk cartons across the United States. Everyone's worried about him. They're, you know, worried about what happened to their favorite, you know, Muppet doctor, you know, that has the podium at the White House.
We need to do another little pre-recorded thing or something on Odyssey.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep. And
we got a lot to talk about over there.
Yep. Guys, by the way, this week I will be updating all of our other video platforms with videos gone past. I have not done that in the last 4 weeks. I will be taking care of that this coming up week. It's on my calendar. American Patriot brought up something I want to talk about, and that's the Prepared Homestead Network. And that is an alternative to Facebook. We are actually going to be moving off of Facebook and moving totally onto Travis's network. And in fact, that was going to be a standalone video I was doing on Tuesday. So guys, watch for a new video coming out on our channel, and it should be Tuesday. And I'll be talking about Travis's network, and that's where I intend to move our Facebook to. So that is coming, by the way, American Patriot. Thank you for that.
We got Show Me the Truth going here saying, I'm surprised Rumble hasn't gotten censorship yet. Yeah, they just became publicly traded, so
yeah,
that's not far off.
No, they're compromised now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about how we are affected here in the state of Missouri with this new law that's coming out of D.C.? Does anyone have any questions on YouTube or here in the Discord? Very specific questions. I mean, we're ready for them. We really do have a lot of protection here in the state of Missouri that no other state has at this point in time. Now, other states do have SAPA law, so I'm not taking that away from them. What I'm taking away, for us, the takeaway for Missouri is if someone in Missouri law enforcement decides to follow that new federal law, they can be, first of all, they'll be fined, and then the guys who do it will be fired. They can't work in law enforcement. So that's what's different between us and a state that has SAPA without teeth. So they're much less likely to do it.
Just for anybody out there, this is not legal advice or anything of the sort. I'm not suggesting you do anything, but the best route surrounding this, at least in my personal opinion, is just keep your name out of things. Keep your name and address out of things that can be tied to the federal government. Everything else should be insulated.
Yep. And also, too, keep in mind, if the ATF does come to your private residence, I'm not saying to your gun dealership. You're an FFL. You have to follow federal law to keep that license. But if a federal agent comes to your door, call your sheriff. Call your sheriff or call your local police chief. Say, get out here right now. The ATF is out here harassing me over my Second Amendment rights. By law, they have to come out there and defend your Second Amendment rights. They have to make the ATF go away. And if they don't, then you've got a $50,000 lawsuit against that agency.
I'm actually not certain if that one
Okay,
applies.
gotcha. I shouldn't say that again, but
Now, it doesn't mean you can't call your sheriff, and they're still technically bound by law. But I still need to look over this better to find out if that penalty applies.
well, if you call for their help, and it's by law, they have to help you, and you call for help,
It
but they do not
depends
send
on if
anyone
that's-
out. Aren't they helping the Fed?
It depends. Not necessarily. They're staying out of the way of both. But it depends on enforced or attempt to enforce. There's two sections here. And I'm not certain if this splits it up or not, but this is what I was looking at earlier, and it says it shall be the duty of the courts and law enforcement agencies of the state to protect the rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms within the borders of the state and protect these rights from infringement. I can't talk straight. Damn, I got cotton mouth. Infringements defined under section 1.420, but I go down to 1.460, and it says any political subdivision or law enforcement agency that employs a law enforcement officer or acts knowingly as defined under 562.016 to violate. Let's see here. I just skipped a line there. Provisions of section 1.450, which that specifically says no person, including any public officer or employee of the state. So it actually separates the two between 440 versus 1.450. So they are technically legally bound, but I'm not certain that the actual $50,000 applies under that specific circumstance. I'm just trying to find if there's another acting in color of any state or it also mentions though let's see here, provisions of section 1.450 or otherwise knowingly deprives a citizen of Missouri of rights and privileges ensured by Amendment 2 of the Constitution of the United States or Article 1, Section 23 of the Constitution of Missouri, while acting under any color of state, federal law, shall be liable to the injured party in action at law, suit, equity, or their proper proceeding for redress. I'm looking to see if it also throws in there. Says sovereign immunity shall not be a defense in such cases, which is qualified immunity. It's just Missouri's definition of sovereign immunity, or of qualified immunity is sovereign immunity. $50,000 per occurrence, but I'm not seeing where it says knowingly deprives a citizen. It doesn't say deprives a citizen. It says deprive a citizen, but it doesn't say declines to protect, and that's the key point.
I'm 99% sure that SAPA would not protect you in that case. The feds can enforce their laws.
Yeah, they can. This is I think that was in the first one. I think that was in the first copy. But
no, I don't think it was even in the first copy. It's always been based on the anti-commandeering doctrine, and that just says they can't use our resources to enforce their law. They can use their agents to enforce their law. But, I mean, the sheriff's duty is to protect your rights regardless of what he's elected to do. The problem is especially in like a county like mine, our sheriff would not do it. Yeah. I'm under RNOT and he is useless when it comes to
Greene County. Oh, RNOT. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yep. Yeah. We're by the way.
So I'm not calling the sheriff because it's useless.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you.
That's when you just kind of because the most they're going to do at that point, if you get a decline, is pull an investigation at that point. So act accordingly in that regard.
Okay, I'd like to answer a question real quick, if you guys don't mind, from YouTube. This is from Show Me the Truth 1611. Any future plans on the bills that involve gold and silver this year, or is it for next year? It is unfortunately going to be for next year now. I unfortunately was not able to get my gold and silver bill with Bill Eigel or Jared Taylor because of time wasted by the whole redistricting issue.
Oh,
and God. So that chewed up too much time. They did have all the information to go forward with the bill. However, their time got chewed up. And I suspect a lot of things are going to go by the wayside this year because they spent over a month on redistricting. And the next part of the question is, any chance stand your ground law passes here in Missouri? As a matter of fact, we're going to start focusing quite heavily on that very quickly, along with Susie Pollock's bill to prevent vaccination centers within public schools. We're about ready to start unleashing the power of the network to get the good work done in the state of Missouri with the existing bills. And the Stand Your Ground Enhancement Bill is a big one. It's a very important one. And we'll throw all of our weight behind it. And we're about ready to start on that. That'll be this coming up week. Also,
118, right?
Yes, correct. Yep. The House bill. The Senate bill got crushed. So and that's a long story, gang, but we're standing behind the Stand Your Ground bill, big time. And it prevents what happened to the McCloskeys from happening to you. That's what that bill does. So and we'll get more details on that bill when we actually do a dedicated video on it. Next Sunday night, we're going to be working on 3 bills. So tonight we're having a little bit of fun, letting you know how the state of Missouri is protected from the new laws coming out of Jefferson City. Next Sunday night we're actually letting you guys know what phone calls to make on what bills and why. And you guys can join us on that adventure. But we need to shore up the Stand Your Ground gun laws in the state of Missouri. And that's, like I said, we've already got a bill in the House. It passed through the committee and is now on the floor of the House. We need co-sponsors. Go ahead, Casey Rich, with that bill number.
Which one?
2118, I believe is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the bill number on the House side for Stand Your Ground. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's actually a Self-Defense Act or something like
that. Gotcha.
It's House Bill 2118. Right now it is in the Let me pull it up real quick here.
Probably hasn't been scheduled for a floor debate yet, but it did get through the House committee.
No, it got through the first committee. It's in another committee now.
Oh, it's in another committee.
It
Go
went
ahead.
from government
Here,
oversight,
real quick. Yep.
government oversight to the other
General laws.
the one that he, yeah.
Okay, it's in general laws. Okay.
But also, when Casey and I went to go testify for that bill, the ones that voted no in that committee, they also support the Sheriff's Association, the Prosecuting Attorney Association. They 100% back those guys.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
Well.
yeah, you can tell that just by the questions and stuff that they were asking at that committee.
Gotcha. And Scott, you recently made a trip up to Jeff City, did you not?
Yeah, I went with Casey Rich for that committee on 2118.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, the committee it's in right now, it's called Rules Administrative Oversight. Representative Eggleston's the chair. He was the vice chair in Jared Taylor's committee. And Scott Cupps is the vice chair in this, and those two voted for 2118. So we got two of them for sure. And there's 10 Republicans and 4 Democrats in this committee. So right now, I guess everybody's on a spring break. So when they get back, I'm going to try and get a hold of Eggleston, find out who's for it, who's against it, who's on the fence, who we got to work, and whatever else.
Mhm.
But we could send emails now, just to all of them saying, "Hey, we support 2118." That wouldn't hurt.
Yep. And remember, before we even get into a big, long video about it, the important thing to remember about 2118 is what happened to the McCloskeys would not happen to you. You don't have to prove your innocence. They have to prove your guilt. And that's the way the legal system works on everything else. So the Stand Your Ground Enhancement Act, or whatever it is they're calling it, actually puts the burden of proof on basically on the state that you weren't acting in self-defense, not on you. Kyle Rittenhouse recently went through this in Wisconsin. He was put on trial and everything to prove that, and that's after they had all the videos of what happened there, and they still put it on trial. And they had direct evidence the guy was acting in self-defense. And, they still put it on trial and made a big deal out of it. The same thing happened to the McCloskeys right here in St. Louis. Kim Gardner, the prosecutor, I believe that she is, all of her cases have been taken away, and I understand that there's a strong possibility she'll be disbarred, literally this coming up winter or fall. So sometime in the next 6 to 8 months, she's probably going to be disbarred, for what she did to the McCloskeys. It was legal, but it was extremely unethical what she did. So unethical treatment is something that's a disbarable offense for an attorney. Okay. Any other questions, you guys, on what we're dealing with here in the state of Missouri? By the way, I've got my ear to the ground, and I've got several other people's ear to the ground. As soon as we know the Supreme Court is going to be releasing a decision on SAPA, you believe you me, we'll have a video about it forthwith. If it's a standalone video or a live video. If we hear they're making an announcement on it, we will certainly let you know in advance. But generally what they do is every other Tuesday, they release their findings. So, of course, I'm on the website for the Supreme Court of Missouri looking for SAPA, any decisions being made on SAPA. So I'm watching for it. Okay, American Patriot says, does Missouri enforce the non-exploding bullets law? Seems like one of the only restrictions I have found. Caleb?
Non-exploding bullets. I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about.
No exploding bullets law. So I'm not sure what that law.
No exploding bullets. Okay, so that is, I actually have, that's ironic. I've got this sitting right in front of me. Let's see here. It is 571.020. This is the possession, manufacture, transport, repair, sale of certain weapons of crime, and then exceptions and penalties. A person commits an offense if such person knowingly possesses, manufactures, transports, or sells, and then it goes down to Section 4. a bullet or projectile which explodes or detonates upon impact because of an independent explosive charge or having been shot from I can't talk straight. A bullet or projectile which explodes or detonates upon impact of an independent explosive charge after having been shot from a firearm. So, and then that one, section 4, it's going to be section 3 here. Any offense pursuant to 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, and 6 is a Class D felony. A crime pursuant. Okay, so section 4 of this is let's see here, or subsection, or I guess it's section 1, subsection 4, is a Class A misdemeanor. So it's still a misdemeanor.
Okay, it's a misdemeanor.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's a Class A misdemeanor. Nothing they can call in feds on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a fine, and like, yeah, at most they'll put you in jail for like a month.
Yeah, keep in mind, guys, for SAPA, Missouri law much mirrors federal law up to the point SAPA was passed. And when SAPA was passed, it's very close, Caleb. It's very close. For instance, we don't have machine guns in the state of Missouri, and the federal government also says no machine guns. I mean, that's just one example of many, but
machine guns without a stamp, anyway.
Without a stamp, gotcha. Yeah, that's correct. If you have the money, you can have a machine gun. That's the way it works, doesn't it? Isn't it just
right.
Actually, ironically enough, there was one company. There's one company out there. I forget the name of it, but they had this guy just before 1986, May 9th date rolled around. He had built a whole bunch of them, and then his FFL got taken away. Went all through a bunch of different legal proceedings and whatnot. And now it's like his son or something that has him as an FFL, but they were all on the registry, and they're about $5,000 a pop.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too far off from a lot of a lot of really good quality ARs. So, and they're new. They're technically new because they were never used. They were never assembled.
Peek is asking, what about deadly weapon law? And I'm not sure what you mean by brass knuckles. He's asking.
Okay,
now.
So that's section 1, subsection 5, knuckles. So brass knuckles. Let's see here. Possession of brass knuckles is a misdemeanor in the state of Missouri.
Misdemeanor. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Also, section 6, any of the following in violation of federal law is where it specifically states that. Which 571.020 is, 571 as a whole was the exempted section from SAPA, because it's literally the section on firearms, and in there it says that they can enforce Missouri law in cooperation with the feds. But one thing that is not here, they don't list destructive device. So like they have a category subsection 1 here is an explosive weapon. And then you look at the definition of explosive weapon in Missouri, and that's basically the equivalent of a destructive device with an explosive warhead federally. Now in Missouri, if you shoot solid projectiles out of a large bore, it's no different than a rifle.
Hey,
so it's not a device in Missouri.
Gary Wright has a question for you, Caleb. Are API armor-piercing incendiary rounds illegal then?
I mean, I don't think so. I think they're specifically talking about an explosive projectile, like the black tip sniper rounds that would have been used in a 8mm Mauser that basically would take someone's head off in World War II. Like even the Germans got in trouble for using those things.
Anthony Weberg is asking, isn't McCloskey going to be elected or something? Anthony, we'll be talking about that shortly. We're going to deal with the Missouri legislative season first before we start getting into federal elections. But we will be covering McCloskey and everyone running for the Senate from the state of Missouri. We're all very happy that Roy Blunt's going away. Like I said, one of the biggest turds in the punch bowl in D.C. is Roy Blunt. And that's a fact. He has been a problem and an embarrassment to the state of Missouri for a very long time, for decades. He's done a lot of damage during his time in the Senate and in the House of Representatives.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about those the House bills that have you hold on. like House Bill 2275, where all sales of firearms and ammo go through an FFL. I know that we have that going through the General Laws Committee.
That's weird because that seems to me a direct violation of SAPA. Because
yeah, I was looking at that a while back. That thing
Yeah.
moved.
has
Yeah,
that thing
I'm
moved?
pretty
Is
sure.
it? Go ahead.
Is that a Senate or House bill?
No, it's a House bill, but I'm pretty sure it went to the General Laws Committee.
What's that bill
Yeah,
number
they'll-
again? Give me that bill number.
They'll probably shoot it down on the House floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have a shot.
HB 2275.
2275. Do you know who the sponsor is?
No, not right offhand.
Okay, gotcha. I'm on it. We'll be talking about it next week. Thank you for that. I didn't know about that one. I don't think they can get that through, though. I do want to take
Hey,
go ahead.
What committee was that in, Guneye?
General Laws.
The sponsor is Ashley Bland, Man Love.
Man Love?
Yeah, we also
Yeah.
have a Senate bill that's similar to that, that's in the Senate General Laws Committee. That's Senate Bill 731.
731.
Oh,
Yep.
but add something else in here too. So, under 571.020, it marks Section 3 a gas gun, and that would be considered a Class D felony for possession of one of those in the state of Missouri. But then you look, or at least out of compliance with federal law. Let's see here. But if you look at Section 10 or subsection 10 under the definitions on 571.010, and it says any gas ejection device or weapon cartridges, basically anything that's like a grenade launcher, you launch a gas bomb out of. And it says adapted for the purpose of ejecting a poison gas that would cause death or serious physical injury. So something that's incapacitating it and doesn't cause severe physical injury is not a gas gun in the state of Missouri. So that's also something that is not a destructive device in the state of Missouri. Anti-personnel rounds out of your 37 millimeter, they are not destructive devices here.
Let me take an opportunity real quick because he came in a while ago. The Missouri Liberty Report is with us. And I did an interview with him on Friday night on his channel, the Missouri Liberty Report on YouTube, and he's also on radio. So I'd like you to chime in real quick, buddy. Can you hear us okay?
Oh, absolutely. I can hear you fine.
Awesome. How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for the invite.
You
Appreciate
bet.
it.
You bet. No problem, man. Happy to have you with us. Here is another Missouri patriot, along with Jennifer Wilkin, who is with us tonight, and she's blessed us with her presence. Another patriot and literally a warrior for liberty in the state of Missouri. And Missouri Liberty Report is welcome to join us all the time now. So he can come in anytime, and join us for our live streams and stuff like that. And you guys, please do check out his channel. In fact, I may put his channel in the YouTube channel. You guys can go check him out. And he does interviews with a lot of politicians in the state of Missouri, by the way. So, you guys go ahead, keep it going here. I just want to get his channel up and running for the.
Yeah, shoot me the truth. Here goes. Here's an idea. Instead of having background checks, why not have people sign liability forms like people sign before they take the cootie shot?
Wow.
Yeah, that's not even. What's the word I'm looking for? Let's see here. Nunchucks, are they? I don't think nunchucks are really defined in Missouri law, as far as I know. Dirks, daggers, switchblades are defined here, and anything that's one of those or a switchblade, you can't carry a switchblade on you unless you have a disabled arm. That just kind of follows federal law, but you can still have it. It's not a crime to just possess it at home or something. The other stuff, any fixed blade that is above 4 inches, or any folding knife above 4 inches, or any fixed blade just has to be open carried in Missouri. They literally tell you have to open carry if you're going to carry a katana. Which is weird, but there's some pointless stuff surrounding that. API or piercing. I mean, I've seen API here.
Unless you have a concealed carry permit, right?
No, that doesn't apply there either. It's that.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
it's
believe
weird. Kind of pointless.
for what? For the katana?
Yeah.
No,
Knives
switchblade.
are included in the concealed carry law.
Yeah.
As far as I
Yeah.
know, last time I checked into it, it was not brought in together under that. At least for a concealed carry permit.
It may not for that big of a knife. I do know that knives are mentioned in the concealed carry law.
Yeah, but last time I checked, it was that it is. You still have to open carry those. It says it does not apply to knives and whatnot. It's been a while since I've looked at it.
That HB 2275 though, it has not been scheduled for hearing.
Okay, no hearing at all, so it's still stuck in committee.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean it's the sponsor is a Democrat. It's not going to go anywhere in the Missouri legislature.
Gotcha. How about SB 731 also stuck in committee in the Senate? The Senate version of the same bill? Because sometimes they try to work one side.
What was it?
SB 731, Senate Bill 731.
Let me look.
We knew about these bills earlier this year, but we forgot about them. These were other infringements on your Second Amendment that they were trying to get through in the House and in the Senate.
It didn't look like it's going anywhere, and then surprise.
Yep. We have to be, mindful of that for sure.
Hearing not scheduled.
Okay, no, so it's still stuck in committee, just like in the House. Excellent. Okay, so there's
and
not
Scott Sifton is the sponsor in the Senate.
Scott, of course.
Yeah, Anthony Weaver. Yeah, I mean, that's same thing. I was kind of thinking about that whole liability mention. Let's see here. No J in DOJ says this is also why Biden illegally made. It wasn't Biden that did that. The ATF's been doing that for a while. In fact, the argument as to why the ATF made a list like that was because their floor collapsed from so many paper records. Which, good job, America.
Yep.
But illegally made a federal list of gun owners so they can. Yeah, that is the ATF, and they've been doing that for at least since 2016 or before. And Trump actually just completely ignored that too.
Yep.
And enforced more gun control than any president before him. But what was going to say?
Yeah,
about
Trump
that?
was not very pro 2A.
No, it was the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
He set the precedent to be able to do the executive order stuff, which it's still. They'll call it precedent. It's not precedent because they're never supposed to do it in the first place, but they'll call it that. And
I have had so many people leave my group on Facebook because I bring that up.
Yep. Same thing here too. I mean, there's a lot of people that get upset when you're critical of Trump. And but Trump made a lot of mistakes.
I'm not one of them.
I still
he was good for about 6 months, and that was it.
Yeah, and they come out with I'm just a liberal Democrat who runs a gun group.
Anyway, I say screw the entire federal government. It's like someone says, "Oh God, so you like Joe Biden?" I'm like, "No, screw him too. Screw them all."
At least we know what we're getting with Biden, though. Like Trump, because he was a Republican and he had so many hardcore followers, like it was a lot harder to fight him when he did something wrong.
This is why Patrick and I make the joke, and on here and everywhere. It's like Joe Biden gave us SAPA because it woke enough people up.
Yep, that's right.
To cooperate.
He made it easy to go in there and
Yep.
Yeah, but Trump making
Best gun salesman on
600,000
earth.
Americans felons overnight, that was
Yep.
nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Oh, we got, what was it? About 1,000 of them actually got turned in.
I don't know. After I
Something like
stopped
that.
tracking it, there was like none. I mean, it wasn't very many at all.
You're right, Jennifer. You know, no one went and turned them in. I mean, that's the point there. So good on the American people for not doing that. Hey guys, I just put our website in the YouTube chat, the MissouriFreedomInitiative.com. If you guys don't mind, if you're not on our email list, you'll be notified in advance of any legislative stuff that starts for us literally this coming up week now. And not to mention, anytime we do any live streams, you'll get literally at least a 5-hour heads up notice, because YouTube is not sending out reminders and notifications from our channel. So please do sign up on our website. We don't share that information with anyone, and we use it simply to get information out to you about what's happening in the state of Missouri and when we go live. So that's what we do with that information.
I still get a crack at with what American Patriot said earlier. I'm still kind of just the whole thing about making a list, and their excuse back in 2016 was that their floor collapsed at the ATF building.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. So we need a digital list of, every firearm owner in America, so we don't, have, paper breaking through our floors anymore.
But which they shouldn't be collecting that paper to begin with.
That's correct.
But what I was gonna say on top of that though is that this is why I recommend particularly right now, anybody who's in Missouri that wants or anywhere for that matter where you can still get them, but in Missouri, those 80% lowers or anything like that, get them because they're effectively executive banned after July 1st, I believe.
Yep.
So
there's
get
more.
Get a 5-pack.
We have more fun coming this summer, then, don't we?
Yes.
Yep.
And don't be like the guy in Kansas and post pictures on Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, if you purchase, the way that executive order works is because if you get them before July 1st, they're grandfathered in basically. So,
yeah, but I mean, it's the federal government. I wouldn't trust it.
I know. Yeah.
Welcome to JL on the YouTube side from Independence, Missouri. Welcome aboard, sir.
All right, another Independence native.
Yep. There we go. Someone else from Independence. I'm down here in the Nixa area, by the way. So that's where I live.
Oh, hey guys, can I rattle off a few things here?
You go for it.
All right, first of all, that Oklahoma bill, HB 2984, it's already passed through the House, and it's in the Senate, and it's had its first reading. So anybody in Oklahoma, I don't know if anybody from Oklahoma is watching this, but if you are, man, start contacting your senators, find out which committee it's going to go into, and see if somebody wants to add some teeth into it with an amendment. I'll try. I don't know who I'd contact, but I'll just start looking up senators. And then we also have somebody's talking about Idaho. There's some Second Amendment Preservation Act. It's known as RS number 28254. I got on their bill tracking site, and it's weird. It doesn't work right, so I can't find the exact bill. I found an op-ed piece, and I think Christy Zito is the person that's maybe she's sponsoring the bill. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll have to check on that some more. And then let's see what else I want to bring up. Oh yeah, what Joe Mama was wanting to talk about, these ballot initiative bills that are coming up and resolutions. We got one that's HJR 79. It's already passed the House. It's in the Senate, and it's going to their local government and elections committee. One of those other two bills, those ballot initiative resolution for that I testified against, were in, and those two got voted past. So far, they haven't moved yet, but they've got voted out of committee. All right, basically what this bill does is HJR 79. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay. What it does, first it says voters in each congressional district shall have the opportunity to review and comment upon all initiative petitions proposing amendments to the Constitution filing a petition with the Secretary of State not less than 15 days before the measure appears on the ballot. In other words, they want it open. It's like a public forum, and that's great. But then what they're going to have on the ballot itself, the question's going to read like this. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to allow only citizens of the United States to qualify as legal voters, require initiative petitions proposing to amend the Constitution be reviewed by voters? That all sounds good. And then it says require initiative amendments to the Constitution be approved by a 2/3 vote. What they're not telling you in that ballot language is, hang on, let me go back up to the front here. First of all, what they're going to do is they're going to, let's see, initiative petitions proposing amendments to the Constitution shall be signed by, they're going to increase it from 8% of the legal voters to 10%. And then, and as of now, it's in each of, it's in 2/3 of the congressional districts in the state that you have to get signatures from. They're going to increase it to all of the congressional districts in the state. And they're not putting that in the language. And they're also, right now, to a ballot initiative only needs a majority vote. They're increasing it to 2/3. And they're not telling you that's being increased 2/3 from a majority. Mm-hmm. So that ballot language doesn't have none of that stuff in there, but they're talking about, being open and all that stuff. So yeah, this is a pretty deceitful bill right here. And that thing's already been through the House, and it's now in the, like I said, it's in the, what is that, Local Governments and Elections Committee. That's one of those other two resolutions we're in that I testified against. They voted those out of committee too. 2 Democrats voted against it. The rest of the Republicans voted for it. Believe that?
Hey, I just want to bounce something off Caleb real quick here.
Okay.
Brass Tard just put in the YouTube chat that 7.62, the 80s ban is next month. Are they doing a ban on AK lowers or something? What's going on with that?
Hang on. 80% ban goes in, as far as I know. It goes in July 1st. It's signed then, but it actually goes into effect July 1st.
Okay.
Now, yeah, you can get the 80% lowers. Now, there's another way around that too, and that is a lot of these websites that at 80%, they're also selling like 70% lowers and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that basically what it is like with an 80% lower, the threads are already there for the buffer tube. The mag well's already cut out. You just have to mill out the fire control group and drill the holes in the side.
Yeah, but the point is we shouldn't have to be doing any of this. This is nonsense.
Well, I know, but it's just kind of pointing out how ridiculous it is. If you want 80% lowers, they are easier. Go ahead and get them now. But with the 70% or 65 or 70% lowers, basically what it is then you have to mill out the mag well and actually tap the threads for the buffer tube. That's the only difference. But yeah, it is ridiculous. But if you want to get something easier before that goes through, might want to grab some 80s.
Yep. And I want to point out something else too. This is actually really important, gang. And I know I say this once in a while, and many of you have heard it before, but it's in relation to a comment on our YouTube channel right now. Show Me the Truth 1611 said, NRA is negotiating our rights away. That is absolutely correct. But what comes after that is what American Patriot said. 100% agree. Jared from Guns and Gadgets said the NRA told the rep senators they were neutral on the bill that they voted on. Otherwise, they wouldn't have voted for it. The point is this. Guys, you do not go to the federal government to keep your Second Amendment rights. They don't care. They want to take them away from you. You must fight for this within your state. You have to go through your state General Assembly to keep your gun rights. And those of you who are spending time calling Washington, believe me, guys, I'm 50 years old. I've been around the block a few times. I have been fighting in Washington, D.C. the first 20 years of my active political life. It's useless. You will not get anything done. You're wasting your time. Trust me. So
Also,
fight for it within your state. SAPA legislation is the best way to do it. Go ahead, Caleb.
on top of being completely useless, if you disagree with them on their recorded phone
Then you get
lines,
on
it
a
might put
list.
you on a list.
Yeah, then you get on a list. Yep. I'm on several lists, I'm sure, by now. I'm sure we all are,
Yeah.
because we want our Second Amendment rights that are guaranteed in the Constitution of the United States,
Like,
natural right from the creator of the universe. Go
like
ahead.
I had been saying for a while, and like Michael Bolden just said the other day too on live stream, says if you're not on a list, you're not doing something right.
Yep. Yep. Okay, guys, I'll tell you what, give you time here for final comments on YouTube. We're going to wrap it up here pretty quick. We're at the hour and a half mark. And
Okay.
go ahead.
Sorry.
I was going to say,
Oh,
I really am very appreciative that Jennifer joined us tonight. Jennifer, just so you know, you're always welcome to join our live streams, always. And thank you so much for everything you've done in the state of Missouri. This is your first exposure to our gang here with the Missouri Freedom Initiative. And I just want to say publicly how much I appreciate how much Jennifer's done for the state of Missouri.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me.
You bet. And of course, Liberty Report, more of a radio guy than a YouTube guy. But I was on his broadcast on Friday, and so I put his YouTube channel in. And Liberty, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do, and let our folks know about you as we give people time to queue up questions, and then we let Casey Rich talk.
Certainly. So basically, I've done podcasting for the last 2 years, and at first I started out on more federal level, and I had done some interviews with like Jared Taylor and some other state reps about some bills that were coming through, and it kind of got me thinking, especially after talking to people like Robert Brown and listening to Tom Woods and hearing some of the things that Michael Bolden had said about nullification. And I thought, man, I'm wasting my time with the feds. Screw this. Let's get Missouri on track. And, especially after talking to Daniel Miller from the Texit movement, I thought, these guys have it right. These guys know that right now we still have the power to nullify. As long as we can get our state off the government teat and we exercise our power as citizens and pressure our representatives into doing the right thing, and if they decide not to, then we find someone who will. This is the only route that I can see that we can take to where we say, we just literally, not to be too rude, but literally just flip them the bird and say, okay, you can pass all the stupid laws and regulations you want, but we here in the state of Missouri are just going to literally turn our back like we never saw that piece of paper that was written. We didn't see anything you said. We're just going to flat out ignore you. And after meeting people like yourselves and some of the others that I've been listening to on the channel, I realized that I took the right route here. My audience is growing. I think I'm finding out that more people are interested in what their states are doing than I originally thought. I thought this was going to be maybe wasted effort, but I wasn't seeing a lot of other podcasters doing this. So I thought, well, let's just make the jump and do Missouri only issues. Now I will bring up bills from other states if they're following in a good order, or I will poke fun at Illinois because that's Stalinist. Yeah, that's Stalinist state over there.
Yeah, and California too.
Yeah. Yep, New York, all those states. I mean, I do, have to urge my listeners to say, hey, when they're doing this, don't fool yourselves into thinking that we wouldn't have lawmakers in our state having those same dreams about doing that, doing those things to us. So I've enjoyed it. I'm getting to interact with newer people all the time, like yourself, Patrick, and everybody else here in the channel. So I look forward to continue to speak with you, work with you, and then that way I have an audience that isn't aware of your organizations, I can pass your information on to them. Hopefully that brings you traffic, and we gain traction in this movement and continue to, elect good reps, find those who will do the right thing, and continue to work with the ones who actually, like Eigel and Onder and Moon and some of these, Taylor, some of these other individuals, and continue to help them do what's actually the right thing, which makes us more free, more prosperous. And then we can just sit back and all, drink whatever beverage we like and point and laugh at the feds. That would be my dream, that we could sit here,
I already do
sit
that
in the lawn
though.
chairs. And, oh yeah, well, yeah, I guess I didn't have to say that, did I?
Well, we're a snowball at the top of Mount Everest. I meant the grassroots movement is growing in Missouri, and in fact, it's growing faster and harder than any other state, I think, in the United States. I think we're ahead of New Hampshire in many ways. The Free State Project over there, because of our SAPA legislation and other things we're doing here in the state of Missouri. It's because of people like you and Jennifer and Casey Rich and Caleb. And all of these folks, we're all doing the yeoman's work, all of us. But it won't happen without us. Our state legislators generally, unfortunately, in many states, don't do the right thing unless there's pressure to do the right thing, because there's a lot of influence for them to do the wrong thing sometimes. So let's make them accountable.
If I can add to that,
Sure.
When it comes to the nullification, the anti-commandeering ideology, now it's like oh god, sorry, I'm having a brain fart here. Jennifer Wilkin there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had said earlier that nullification. You're not a fan of the term just because people think it flat out nullifies. It may not nullify legally in all respects, but it nullifies in practice in so many regards. And a lot of people.
I don't like saying that because then you have so many people. It's easy for us because we follow laws, we know this stuff, we know what we mean. But to your average everyday person, and there's so many, even in my gun group, and I have hammered it through in my group, but there's still people in there that think that the gun laws just don't apply at all in Missouri. And I'm like, no, the ATF can still show up your door, and people will argue with me about it. And I'm like, they just don't understand what that means. That's why I go into the big, long, detailed explanation that people probably just tune out anyway. But
you get where I'm coming from, though. It's effectively
right. Yeah. No, I understand what you
practice.
mean.
But the point being surrounding all of that is to say that the whole idea of anti-commandeering and the whole idea of doing what you can to block enforcement of federal law however you can, that's not something that the courts can shoot down, because the very basis of it is not cooperating. No matter what any federal court says in any way, shape, or form, the states are still duty-bound to refuse to cooperate.
Hey, Jennifer, what's the name of your Facebook group?
Gun Owners of Missouri.
Okay, Gun Owners of Missouri. I'm going to put a link to that on YouTube real quick. Let me get that real quick. I'm in too many
Close
groups.
that window.
I could probably find it and link it too.
Okay.
Is it, yeah, regardless, it's still the duty of the states to refuse to cooperate no matter what the federal courts say.
Copy. And
no, I completely agree. And I think a lot of people are confused on how our government was actually set up. The hierarchy is states are up here and the federal government is down here. The states created the federal government, so we are in control of the federal government.
Exactly.
But a lot of people think it's completely opposite of what it actually is.
That came around, if you want to really get to it, it came around right after the turn of the 19th century, right just before the turn of the 19th century, where people just kind of flipped that on its head and then stare decisis with the courts and that whole mess. but you can look at the Constitution as a contract between the states to create basically a commission to handle foreign affairs and the efficiency of domestic trade, and that is it. They are not authorized to do anything else. Nothing. And just
Okay.
like any
Right. If it's not defined in the Constitution, they don't have the power.
And just like any contract, as soon as they violate it, that contract might as well be null and void for the other party.
A really good documentary too about that specific topic is Non-Compliant by Chris Ann Hall.
Oh, Chris Ann Hall, sure. I'll bet you I've seen it, actually. I don't remember the title, but I'll bet you I've seen it.
It's a really good documentary.
American Patriot has a quick question here. I have no criminal record. I'm very outspoken about my Second Amendment rights and political beliefs. I'm moving to Missouri soon. Should I get my carry permit to avoid NICS checks when I buy more guns?
That doesn't work here. That doesn't work here. The carry permit in exchange for NICS check does not work in Missouri because Missouri permit does not provide enough information for that to be the case and for the feds. I just recommend. I honestly just recommend learning some milling skills and buying a $600 milling machine from Harbor Freight.
Well, there's always private sales. There's always private sales too.
That too.
So the Congress loves putting a derogatory term on it and calling it the gun show loophole. But that's what we've had for hundreds of years in America, is a gun show loophole known as just, hey, I've got cash. Hey, I've got a gun. Let's do a trade. It's been that simple for a long, long time. And so now that personal trade is called gun show loophole.
Even though FFLs at gun shows still have to run their checks.
Yep.
Which is hilarious.
Property taxes, according to American Patriot, are peanuts compared to Maine. You should see the property taxes my mother pays in Massachusetts. American Patriot is in Maine, northern Maine. He's moving to Missouri to avoid the winters. It's much milder down here, and I do have friends in Maine, by the way, so I know all about Maine winters. But
also,
go ahead.
Moving to Missouri should also be able to avoid Biden's winter of death and destruction.
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, how many days left do I have to live, guys? Holy crap!
Winter's almost over. It's what is it? The 20?
Yeah, holy crap!
It's over.
Yeah, shoot, man, I've got like 8 days to live. You know, Biden would never lie to me. I'm gonna no, he didn't say I was gonna die for sure. He said I'd be dead, or I'd be like a piece of human cholesterol in a hospital, clogging up the hospitals. So it's one of the two. So so Biden would never lie. He's so grandfatherly. It's just such a nice old man shuffling his feet to and from podiums all over.
And the really bad part about this, and I've said this before, is that with the Biden situation, if he wasn't such a tyrant, this would be elder abuse.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, literally, it would be elder abuse. The guy should be sitting in a retirement home somewhere.
Yeah. What do you want to bet Secret Service is?
Nobody in his.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jennifer.
No, sorry. I think it's crazy that no one in his family is like stepping up and speaking up for him, because it's crazy.
That's because his family's too busy rifling through his medicine cabinets, taking his medicines. That's what it is.
I actually saw on the news that Obama's doctor now, as of yesterday, is even calling for Biden to take a cognitive test or whatever.
I think that was planned though.
Yeah. Oh, the Kamala Harris. There are other terms I could use for a name that I will not use on here. That one is much worse. Much worse.
So Kamala Harris, actually, I think if she was tested, we'd find out she's a psychopath.
Sociopath.
No, I'm thinking she's a psychopath. Remember now, she prosecuted people for the same thing she was doing, and that's enjoying the devil's lettuce. And that brought her a lot of pleasure. So unfortunately, that would be psychopath and not sociopath, because it brings her pleasure to hurt other people. Yeah. So the clinical psychopath there. Okay, guys, I don't see. Go ahead.
Oh, never mind. I got it.
Okay, I was going to say I don't see any further questions here. So KC, what you got for us, brother?
Look, I just want to talk about those ballot initiatives again, because some people might not know much about them or anything. But you got to understand, you got like I said, you've got two of them that already went out of that committee.
Okay, go ahead.
He's trying to pull them up.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, but they got two that already went out of committee, and then you got the House Joint Resolution number 79. It went through the House, and it's already in the Senate, and it's getting ready to. It's in the local government elections committee. They'll probably have what do they call that, where you get up there and talk for or against it, a hearing. But anyway, what's important about these ballot initiatives, people don't understand, man. Like, when we have problems with the federal government, we rely upon the states to remedy that, right? But when your state gets out of control, that ballot initiative is your tool to use. And what they're doing here is they're going to raise the thresholds as far as like the percentage of signatures, the number of districts you got to go and get signatures. So what they're going to do is basically make it impossible for the average for the average people to put something on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And they can they'll still have a ballot initiative and say you got it, but it'll be impossible to do it. So basically they're killing it by still keeping it on there. And there's like about 6 or 8 of these bills out circulating out there. The 3 I just mentioned are the ones that are moving the fastest. I mean, I don't know what the deal is, man. They're coming hard and fast on this. They really want to shut it down, take it away from us.
Didn't you say to me the other day when we were talking that their claim was that, oh, well, it's to stop corporations from coming in and meddling in, the
and
state
immigrants
legislature?
And immigrants. They're claiming as opposed to dealing with immigrants coming into Missouri. Well, we just make it harder for people to do ballot initiatives so we don't have quote unquote liberal causes clogging up the system. They're using all kinds of excuses. Go ahead.
The problem with that, though, is the George Soroses and stuff. They'll be able to jump through any hoops to put something on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that. They're shutting down the people. They don't want us to. The political parties want to make the laws.
Yeah.
Yep.
They don't want us doing it. And plus, you got to think, man, that may end up being a tool we have to use.
Yep.
I mean, later on down the road, man, like I said, a lot of people don't think much about it, but it's very important.
I think they're upset about SAPA.
Yeah,
I think that's part of it.
Whatever it is, we got to, I don't know, we got to shut those down and make sure they don't, because what happens if, like, especially a HJR 79 goes on the ballot, like I told you, the ballot language says nothing about anything being increased.
That
so
ballot language
really
is a bait and switch.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're trying to sneak these through, man. They really want to take the ballot initiative away from us. Because I remember when Onder was for his bill, he was saying, "Well, a lot of states don't even have one." I mean, basically, that's telling you right there. They want to take it away from us. They don't want we the people making the laws. They want to make them.
I think it's that, and some of them really don't even know exactly what they're doing with that either.
And I know this is on SAPA, but this has everything to do with SAPA because, once again, this is a very important tool we may need in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for SAPA, but for anything, as far as just...
I really would like to see SAPA put in the Missouri Constitution. I really would.
Yep. One step at a time. There's been some light discussion about that, but one step at a time on that. First of all, I know for a fact that everyone's waiting to see what the treatment it gets from the Missouri courts and ultimately the federal courts. So, one step at a time. We'll see where we can get with that. But by the way, I'm very supportive of what you just said. I'm very supportive. So, but it'll take the voters of Missouri to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. And again, we need to protect that ballot initiative.
Let's see. Is the Article 5 ballot initiative in Missouri's Trojan horse, or is it effective? From Show Me the Truth 1611. Article 5 ballot initiative in Missouri.
We're talking about talking about the Article 5 Convention of States. I see it as a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Because what that's going to do is it's just going to make a mess to where they'll stick something else in the U.S. Constitution that will really screw us over, everybody over.
Yep.
The last time they did something was in 1997, and all they did was ensure that you can't cut the congressional pay without their approval.
Yep.
The resolution, I believe, stipulates that it's only for term limits.
It's only for term limits. They're not going to stick anything else in.
Oh, Article 5, once you have a convention of states, though, they can try anything.
Yeah, there's no limit on what they can do once a convention is called.
Any and all constitutional constitutional amendment proposals are valid proposals in such a convention.
Does anybody know? I know Missouri already passed a resolution for the Convention of States, but I see there's another one in the works today, and I wasn't able to pick up the difference between the two. Does anybody know why it's going through again?
It's political grandstanding. You have one person that wants to do it, another person wants to do it, and they both do it, and they both pass it because it looks good on paper.
And because it can further their political careers, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We saw that happen with SAPA.
And
go ahead.
Yeah.
Is House Bill 1607 purporting to protect basically head off any regulation of firearm business in Missouri? Is that kind of the same deal? I submitted testimony supporting it back in February, but it's not on the calendar. It doesn't look like it's doing anything.
It's probably not going anywhere because this year we've had so much with just a redistricting. It's pathetic.
And they never got anywhere with it. They never finalized it. They just tabled it.
Well, screw it. I mean, it's federal redistricting. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Feds mean nothing to us. Focus on here.
Oh, they have actually
That's
American. Go ahead.
That's something we should have been calling on, is saying quit trying to redistrict and focus on here.
Yep.
Anyway, but oh well, it's done now.
Yeah, American Patriot pointed out something I'd like to add, and that's that Congress just voted themselves in a 21% pay increase, and that's after the federal government's been telling us that inflation is 2%, or I believe they're saying now it's 7.9%. The actual number is about 25%. So the federal government lies. Anytime the federal government opens its mouth, it just lies, and it's just
gotta love the Smith Modernization Act, eh?
Yeah. Let me ask you, Jennifer, did you get a 21% increase at your job here recently?
Well, I stay at home, but
okay,
no.
Okay,
My
no.
husband did not.
Yeah, I'll bet you Caleb and KC and myself didn't get a 21% raise. No.
Definitely not.
No. So yeah, it must be nice to be a congressman, I guess.
Here's the last amendment that was passed. It's it was originally proposed September 25th, 1789, and obviously that would have been when they were trying to do the Bill of Rights, and it was obviously rejected. Except they picked it back up in May 7th of 1992. It was ratified. It says no law varying the compensation for the services of senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall intervene.
Okay.
Yeah, protect their own pay.
Yep, that's right. That's what they do. Let's see. Let's see. Goose 1776. Hello to you, by the way, Goose. Biden should be worried about SAPA. Any tyrant should. Biden is very worried about SAPA. He's got his Department of Justice all over us, like I was going to say flies on something. The DOJ is all over us right now. We're the only state that has SAPA that is enjoying this kind of attention from the Department of Justice. So yes, Biden is concerned.
Oh, hey, once we're done here, you want to go raid Prepared Homestead channel? It looks like he's live right now.
Oh, Prepared Homestead is live. Normally here, and I'm going to close it up here. But normally what I do is I tell folks, come on into our Discord. For those of you who didn't want to talk during the live stream, we still kind of have, we let our hair down and we just kind of chat for a while in our Discord after the live stream is over. But if Travis is live, I think we should go do the bums rush over to Travis's channel. If you guys are not familiar with Travis and the prepared homestead. He's definitely someone you want to pay attention to. In particular, I've got to give a shout out to him for his meetings. He has the largest prepper meetings in the United States of America. We can't find anyone that has larger meetings than him. And they're in Texas County, Missouri. So please do pay attention to that. I've only missed one meeting so far. I go to all of his meetings, and I do speak at his meetings as well. And so we got a lot of very, very, very liberty-minded folks on Travis's channel as well. And I just love how all these liberty-minded folks are coming together and making a difference in the state of Missouri. You guys make me proud to be a transplant from the state of Minnesota. I've been here for 26 years. Okay. All right. Final thoughts from anyone before we close her up.
Well, I just like to say, again, thank you, Patrick, for the interview this past Friday and the invite to the Discord channel. And I hope to spread you guys, different organizations, Facebook pages, whatever you have, websites, to my listeners. And I'm really hoping we can draw more traffic and get people convinced that, yes, you can't ignore the feds. Get your state right. Get your state in order. And again, even though we all laugh at the feds now, we can laugh even more when it's all over with.
You bet.
I really do enjoy laughing at the feds, though. I really do.
Yeah. And we have a couple of people saying Travis is awesome here in the YouTube chat. I agree. Travis is he's becoming a pretty good friend of mine. Let's just put it that way. I mean, the guy is he's as honest as the day is long, give you the shirt off his back, and he really wants to help other people and help people prep. And God bless him. So I'll tell you what, gang, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for now. But I'll tell you what, hey, can you throw me a link to Travis's live stream? We'll go ahead and put that.
I just stuck in the YouTube chat.
Okay, in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and do the bums rush over to Travis's live stream and give him a little bit of love. I want to thank Jennifer Wilkin again for taking some time out to come and and rap with us just a bit. It's the first time I've seen Jennifer publicly before, and I'm thinking she's probably seen me too, but we didn't know who each other were. But it's been around the SAPA stuff that, she was working SAPA, we were working SAPA. And so it's really nice to actually meet you, Jennifer. And thank you again for everything you've been doing for the state of Missouri. You are a true patriot and you're a blessing to the state. Thank you. The same thing goes to the Missouri Liberty Report. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for the state of Missouri. And once again, gang, if we join forces and literally get good legislation done in our state, nothing can stop us. Nothing can stop us.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, we're moving forward into liberty faster than New Hampshire, in my opinion. Now, New Hampshire does have us beat on the tax side. Just in taxes, they have us beat. They have lower taxes in every regard except for property tax in the state of Missouri or in the state of New Hampshire. In freedoms and firearm freedoms, there's not a single state that even comes close to what we have here in Missouri. As far as I'm concerned, it would be morally just to say we should be competing for liberty in the states. All states should be competing for liberty for their people. Okay, thank you again for joining us. Thank you, all of you on YouTube. Guys, please do head on out to the link that Travis gave in the chat to Travis's live stream, and let's go ahead and give him some love over there. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight. We know that your time is important and it's precious. Thank you for keeping up with us in the state of Missouri. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section. I'll be paying much closer attention to that from this point forward for the rest of the legislative year. May God bless each and every one of you. Take care, gang.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Thanks.